Hey, 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 you know what it is. Yes, you know what time it is. Yes, it is that time. This is that place. Once again, welcome into the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Yes, this is the place where possibilities become perspective. Guys, welcome once again into the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Welcome once again into the I Am the Possible universe. Thank you so much for rocking with me once again in the place to be. You know, we have some amazing things to see. Guys, first off, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for your support, for every email, for every download, for every share, for every like, for every comment. Thank you so much. You are the reason I do what I do. And I just want to, as always, pause for the cause because you are my cause. Your presence is the greatest present that you guys could ever give me. So thank you so much for continuing to rock and to roll with this podcast. Guys, today we are talking about the secret of overcoming a negative self-image. The secret of overcoming a negative self-image. Now, there's a popular saying out there, image is everything. And I don't know if you believe that or not, but it's something that I have grown to believe because I also have seen even biblically how it was our image, the idea that we have and hold of ourselves that was attacked in the beginning and ultimately led to our fall. And even if you're not on that biblical stuff, even if you're not a believer, even if you're not religious, just in common terms, I want to remind you that your image, your idea of yourself, right, your identity, it is an informant, whether you know that or not. It is always informing you of three very critical things. It's informing you of what you believe you can be, do, and have. Those three things are being informed by your identity, by the concept that you have of yourself. So it is so important for us to learn how to overcome and to really start to conquer that negative self-image. So many times, guys, we are born into this world, into families like me, into situations like me, into circumstances like me, where our image is almost instantly attacked and just drained of any positivity because of the things that we go through, the people that we're around, the situations that we find ourselves in, the environment overall. I mean, there are so many factors, so many elements that go into damaging the image that we have of ourselves. So it can never be taught enough. It can never be preached enough. It can never be, talked about enough. How do we overcome this negative self-image? Because we are more likely, and there's been research done, we are so much more likely to have and to hold a negative image of ourselves than we would ever be able to have and to hold a positive one. So if you're watching on the tube, and you should be watching on the tube, if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please head over to YouTube and just type in I Am the Possible, and you can find my channel. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you are notified each and every time I upload some new content, because I have a ton of content coming out each and every week. But if you're watching on the tube, then you will notice that I'm not in my usual I Am the Possible gear. I'm in my golf gear this morning. I'm getting prepared to hopefully not embarrass myself in this upcoming golf tournament that we're having for a Piece of My Heart Foundation. It's a foundation that was started years ago when my cousin passed away, Morgan Manning. She passed away from a rare heart disease. And she was the daughter of my pastor and my first cousin, Pastor Kerwin L. Manning. Shout out to Kerwin Manning. Shout out to Pasadena Church. She was the daughter of Madeline D. Manning. I just love those middle initials because it just makes the name complete. But she was our precious family member, and she passed away. And so this foundation started or was started in her memory. And she passed away, at a very young age. And so it's something that we continue to hold near and dear to our hearts. We continue to celebrate. We continue to raise funds each and every year to do more research for this rare disease. And so I'm just, I'm getting ready, man. I'm going to be heading out after recording this down to the putting range, and I'm going to be, knocking in or knocking out or what it see. That's how much of a rookie I am. I'm gonna just be taking the golf club, and I'm gonna be hitting these little white balls. Okay, whatever that means. But my purpose in not only wearing this because of that reason, I'm also wearing it because I want to start off with a quick story that I believe will illustrate how we can sometimes express this negative self-image and how it can just play a role in our lives. And so I was at the golf range. That's what it's called, the golf range. I was at the golf range actually a couple of days ago, and I met this older gentleman named Dan. And so Dan to me was a stranger. He was at the green in front of me, and I was behind him, and I was doing my thing. And Dan noticed that I wasn't, he noticed that I wasn't good. And so he wanted to, as many golf players will do, if they're a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more advanced than you, they will offer you some advice. And so Dan started to give me some advice. And so long story short, we're having this great dialogue going back and forth. He's teaching me some things and sharing life, and he's asking me questions. And we get to a point where he starts to share some of his experiences when he first started, when he was in his 20s. And he shared a story of how he would always go home after doing pretty well on the greens. He would go home and he would just gripe. He would just complain and bellyache to his father. And one day his father sat him down and really checked him and said, you're really complaining a lot, but you're actually doing pretty good. And he was noticing how Dan, overall, he was doing good, but he was fixated on the few failures that he had. All on that one, on the third hole, I chipped it or whatever, or on the 16th hole, I whatever, or he was focusing on the missed shots, the times where it would go in the water or the times it would go in the sand, but he would gloss over all those amazing shots, all the good shots. And again, excuse me, I'm a rookie, but they have these birdies and eagles and all these other little names for the shots. But he threw out some names where it was good shots, but he would only go home and fixate and gripe and tell the world about his negative ones. And that to me illustrated the way that we've been conditioned in our society. Just like Dan, it may not be golf for you, but it could be something maybe that you're doing at work, or something within your family, or something within one of your hobbies, or something that you like to do. Maybe it's a business that you started. And the more you do whatever you're doing, if you were to pause and really identify, really look at your overall dialogue, language, monologue, inner talk, self-talk, inner voice, you would see that the majority of what you're saying is in the negative sense. But it's in the negative sense, not because you didn't do anything good. It's in the negative sense because we've been conditioned in our culture to fixate on our flaws and our failures. Again, this is why I say image is everything. Identity is everything, because in the beginning, biblically, when we look at Genesis, everything was fine until we were challenged about our identity. Take of something that doesn't belong to you, and if you do it, you will be like. It's always about being like, right? And that's why I believe God inspired me with iAMthepossible. You can't rob me of something that I am. It is cemented. It is fortified. I am this. You can't challenge what I am, because I am it. It is what I am. It is me. It is one and the same, right? That's why I say I and my possibilities are one and the same. Everything I hope to be tomorrow, I already am today. Remember, guys, we are only becoming that which we've already become. We're only growing, we're only elevating, we're only evolving in our capacity to experience and to express and to emerge as that which we have already been. We currently are and will always be. We're just growing, expanding in our capacity to be that. But that is a revelation. That is something that you have to accept about yourself, acknowledge and appreciate about yourself. Then you can act upon it. And that's why I do what I do, because I see how my life has transformed once I received this revelation. And I realized it, and I let it be. I didn't fight it. I just let it be. And it's permeated every area of my life. So I've been able to do some amazing things, but even more than anything that I've ever done, I get to wake up to a revelation of what I am, who I am. That can't be taken away, because what I am and what you are is not determined by what we've done. It's determined by what God has done. It's not determined by what we will do. It will only and it will always be determined by what God has already done. So because it's past tense, it can't be undone. It is. The devil, it's too late. It's too late. So a part of this secret is, because a secret really is just something that's not really commonly known. Many people don't know that they are their possibilities. They don't know that they're the butterfly. They don't know that they're just going through different stages of life, right? Remember, the butterfly, and I'm all off my notes, by the way, but someone needs to hear this. iAMthepossible is built on the life cycle of a butterfly. So it is with the life cycle of humanity, right? Those 4 stages of growth and development. But at the concept, at the egg stage of a butterfly, it already is a butterfly. It's just in an egg form. And then it goes from the butterfly, from the egg form, it moves into that caterpillar, let's just say larva, okay? And then it moves from that stage into the pupa, the cocoon, and then it bursts forth into the winged, free, liberated mosaic animal that we commonly call the butterfly. But the truth is, it's always been the butterfly since conception. And so it is with you and I. You are already everything that God has determined you to be. You are already that. You're just in a certain stage of your development. But that doesn't mean that you can't fly right where you are. That doesn't mean that you can't live as though you're already that, because the truth is you are already that. You just look a little different. The butterfly is the butterfly, but at every stage, it just appears different. It looks different, but it is what it is. And so it is with us. It is what it is. We are what we are. We're only expanding to a greater possibility of what already is. I hope and pray that you guys got that. So now, since I've gone all off my notes, let me just break down my notes real quick, right? And then we can wrap this thing up, man. But the secret is something that's not commonly known. So how do we overcome a negative image? Okay, I'm going to break down something that's not commonly known. All right, so let me give you a couple of things. Number one, I want to say to you, stop overriding God. In Genesis 1:31, it says that God created everything and he looked over everything that he created, which included you. And God validated it completely, said it was good. So I want you to understand that a part of your negative self-image is the fact that you are fixating and you are fixed on flaws and failures. So don't override God. Who are you to get so fixated on your flaws and failures when God is fixated on your good? He says you're good. And listen, I'm going to go on to stop overriding Jesus, but in the sending of Jesus, he's saying, you're so good that I'm going to make a way. Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. You are so good, I'm going to make a way. I'm going to make a way out of no way. You feel me? I'm going to bring that which is not seen into the scene. I'm going to make a way through my son. I'm going to make a way, and then I'm going to present to you truth, and then I'm going to show you how to live a real life. That's what Jesus is, the way, the truth, and the life, the way to live life. So I love you so much, and you're so good. And you ain't ever stop being good. So here's the deal. I'm going to send my son. So number one, stop overriding God. You're not God. You're not bigger than God unless you think you are. And if so, then maybe this ain't the podcast for you. But if you can respect the fact that you're not as big as God is and that you're not God, then don't override God's word. Don't override God. He said you're good. Don't override Jesus. Jesus says, I've come not to condemn the world. Didn't he say that? I didn't come to condemn you. So why is it that we're condemning ourselves? If you think that you're not as great as Jesus, and Jesus is the template, Jesus is the way to a full and abundant life, that means that Jesus is greater, then don't override Jesus. Jesus says, I didn't come to condemn the world. So who are we to condemn the world? These are the tidbits. These are the things that we must record and remember and reflect upon. I'm not bigger than God. If God said I'm good, then I'm going to go with what the bigger man says, the bigger person says, the bigger entity says, the bigger spirit says. I don't want to go down that path, right? But the context is God is greater, the creator of all things, the source of all things. The creator and the source says, I, put your name there, I, Treveal, I am good. So don't override that. Jesus says, I, the Son of God, I, God in the flesh, I didn't come to condemn you. So guys, who are we to condemn ourselves? So stop the negative cycles just in the fact that you're not God and that you're not Jesus. Now, here's my third point, guys, and this is moving into the tangible thing that I would like for you to do. This is something that I would like you to do. Number one, realize that yesterday you did something good. Today, depending on when you're hearing this, you've already done something good. So rather than keep a record of your wrong, which the devil loves to do, and the devil loves to help us to do, instead of keeping a record of your wrongs, keep a record of your goods. Yeah. Just like you journal, make a good journal. I am good journal. I done good journal. I did good journal. This is not about being conceited, arrogant, big-headed, puffed up, prideful. Don't let the devil manipulate you into somehow twisting this and flipping this back on you and telling you that, hey, you don't deserve to keep keep no records of good. No. Don't keep no record of good. That's prideful. That's arrogant. That's yada, yada, yada. No, this is wise because you're already keeping a record of your wrongs. You just ain't writing it down, but it's in your head. It's in your heart. You already got the record going. So what I'm telling you to do, because this has worked for me, what I'm telling you to do is flip that, reverse that, make a record of your good, the good book. Just like we call the word of God, the good book, make your personal good book because the Bible is still being written, by the way. Side note, the life is still continuing. The story is still being written. We're still here. You feel me? But that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother thing. So keep a record of your good. Write it down. Buy a journal, 99 cents, $2, whatever. You can find them at Target. You can find them wherever you shop, Walmart, whatever. Get you a journal, man. And every day write down what you've done good because the truth is you do good every day. You do. Let me validate you. I know every day you do good. You do something good. You do something good for yourself. You do something good for other people. Every day you do something, at least one thing that is good, that is productive, that is positive. But you rarely get to record it and reflect on it and remember it. Because again, in our culture, we've been so conditioned to fixate on our flaws and our failures. And I'm telling you that you've got the power of choice to flip this thing around. It is countercultural. This is not the norm. That's why it's a secret. It's not what everyone else is doing. You know something, this week I've heard multiple times, so I know it has to have some weight to it, because I've heard it by different sources at different times, and it's just been really weighing on me. If you want to be great, go into a room and do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. If you want to be great, look out into the world and do the opposite of what the majority of people are doing. If you want to be great, go into that situation and do and be the opposite of what everyone else is doing and being. And you will find your greatness. You can't go with the crowd. You can't go with the majority, because the majority, they're just following. There's some Pied Piper out front, and everyone else is just aimlessly, mindlessly following. This is about an awakening. This is about a consciousness. This is about you tapping in to you, and you developing your voice, and you developing yourself, and you developing your greatness, and you developing your genius, and you developing your possible. Because it's in there. In fact, it's what you are. So this is about liberation. So record your good. Record your good. Meditate on your great. Meditate on your great. Meditate on your great. Find what's good about you and think on it. Meditate on it. Spend some time recording it and reflecting on it. What did you do good yesterday? Record it, reflect on it, meditate on your great. Anything that we meditate on becomes magnified, and whatever we magnify grows in its magnitude. Remember that. Whatever we meditate on gets magnified, and whatever we magnify grows in its magnitude. I'll say it one more time. Whatever we meditate on gets magnified, and whatever gets magnified grows in its magnitude. If you've been fixating, aka meditating, on your flaws and your failures, you have been magnifying them. And by magnifying them, you've caused them to grow in their magnitude, the influence and the effect it has on your life. And I'm telling you that you can flip it. Record your good. Guys, that's it. That's my secret, man. That's it. That's what I wanted to share. This is a tangible thing. It takes time, it takes practice, but you've been practicing the flaws and the failures. So practice the good. This is a training of the mind. I've said this so many times before. Ever since I heard it, I continue to share it. We don't rise to the level of the occasion. We rise to the level of our training. Train the brain to see your good. Train your 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 brain to see your good. Because you are good. And it's time for you to see it. That's it, guys. That's it. I wanted to share that, man. Listen, in closing, I just wanted to kind of go back to how I started with this foundation. I'm going to put a link down below if you're watching on the tube. I'm going to put a link, and then I'm going to also put a link in some of the posts that I have out there on social media, if I can fit that in, concerning this foundation, because you may want to donate. you may want to, be a part of this effort. And, we are created as God's contribution, not only to make a contribution, but to be a contribution to the betterment of our society. So this is one way that you can contribute. And I didn't plan on saying this or sharing this, but I will put the information down below. Anyone who wants to find out more, I'll put the link to the website to find out more about this foundation. It's a wonderful foundation. People of integrity, the Mannings, are just, oh my God, world changers, man, life changers, people of integrity and character, and are really operating in the love of God, truly letting love lead them as they lead in love. They are an example of this model and this entire truth and revelation of love. So if you want to invest in them and just invest in this cause, then just click the links below and you can get more information about that. Okay. Until next time, man, love you guys, praying for you guys, believing in you guys. And today I want to end with something a little different because I'm working on my branding and I'm just working on the things that I want to speak and prophesy and say and have you speak and prophesy and say over your life. So I will say, until next time, I want you to remember that genius is your design. Greatness is your destiny. God bless you.